Hello, everyone. Disagreements, unhappiness in offices, conflicts in offices. How many of us have this issue? Many, many. I have 12 years of corporate experience. Right now, I'm a soft skills trainer since last 5 years, and I very much understand this topic. So I wanted to share some tips on this. I wanted to explain what exactly this is about and how this kind of disagreements can happen. See, disagreements are fact of life. They are necessity for understanding each other. If you do not disagree, the other person will not be in a position to explain you better, to brainstorm on the better ideas which he can put forward. Biasness will be less if you do not disagree on something. That said, arguments can get out of control, however, very quickly. So, disagreement is fine, but don't go with arguments, right? So, factors of work life conflicts. The very first one, take advantage of or take for granted. So, you are taken for granted. Happens? A perfectionist boss. I think this should have been the first reason. No compensations, rewards, or acknowledgements. Unrealistic or unmet expectation, but I would say from both sides, not only from managers' sides. No clarity of values or your personal goals or your professional goals. Very important one, miscommunication or no communication. The another one can be varying perceptions or assumptions. So that actually causes because of miscommunications. Ego clash, blame games. So these are few reasons which can actually or factors that causes workplace conflicts. So 4 steps for managers or all of you, I would say. Develop your communication skill. Very, very important. Communication skill means please inform what are the goals, what is your requirement, what exactly you are looking for. Other person cannot assume it, and where there is an assumption, there is no clarity. So the next step is clarification of expectations. The third one is practicing interpersonal skills, which means talk to each other, more communicate, more discuss, more emailing, more documentation. And the last one is setting up behavioral consequences. If you see that there is something wrong happening, if you see that there is a behavioral issue with any of the employee, please set up correct consequences. Otherwise, the person will continue doing what he is doing. Let me clarify these points. Before that, please subscribe to my YouTube channel for more such contents for your personal and professional development. The very first one, as I said, developing your communication skill is more about articulating or expressing the thoughts and feelings instead of sulking inside. Please do not just think about should I. The next, more about it is giving and receiving open feedback. You should be open to feedback as well. And as a manager or as somebody who feel that things are not going correctly, you should give feedback as well. Improving your active listening skills. See, if you do not listen to the other person, there will be communication gaps. And the last one is please empathize. Be compassionate to your colleagues. Remember 10 C's. Note it down. Communicate instead of conflicting. Clarify instead of challenging. Collaborate instead of confronting. Compliment instead of criticizing. Connecting instead of confusion. I'll put those below in the comments. Please do note them and remember them. The next one was about establish a clear expectation. So there should be no blame game. A very clear expectation about your values, about the values of the company, what we are looking for, the goals, the standards. your requirement, your professional requirement, your duties, your performance standards should be negotiated, should be discussed every month or maybe once in 3 months. Where do you stand? Collaborating using a win-win strategy. So win-win strategy is you say something, the other person says something, and you come to a proper conclusion. Collaborate. Okay, you said this much is achievable. I say this, try to do this as well. So after 3 months, we will talk about it. So you guys are collaborating on one discussion, on one achievement, which both of you have agreed. That's the reason it is a win-win situation. So always collaborate when you are arguing, when you are discussing something, when you have differences on issues. The next one is practicing interpersonal skills. As I said, acknowledge, appreciate, treat your staff and subordinates as your family members. Please be sensitive to people. If you feel like a boss always, it will not work. Behavioral consequences. So, removing the rotten apples from the basket, or at least separating the healthy ones from the rotten, will save the healthy apples. So those who are not not cooperating, or they are unwilling to change themselves, let them face the consequence. However, express the consequence in a non-threatening way. Talk about policies, procedures, and then keep the consequence in front. However, you cannot say that if you're not doing things, I will sue you. You cannot do that as well. So you have to explain the norms. You have to explain how his duties and what he is doing is incorrect. A very important question. So I talked a lot about managers and all. So can a manager be angry? Managers will think about it. There are certain situations which actually gets the anger triggered. You see people not cooperating, you see the entire team not cooperating you, or you see that the entire team is not at all following you, and at the end of the month your project is not met the expectations. So anger is not good or bad. You can be angry about anything. However, taking action in anger is something which you need to work on without thinking. So communicate your anger verbally, however, assertively. You can say, I am not happy with this. I don't feel what you're doing is right, because give him a proper policy information. You cannot say, I don't like this, I don't want this to happen. Who are you? You are just an employee as others. So you cannot put yourself always in the front, space, and feel like a boss and then show your anger. So convert your anger into positive communication, and then that anger will convert into motivation to think better for yourself. Think positively instead of feeling negative about the other person or maybe yourself. Next, I would like to give some tips or to the staff and the subordinates as well. Why should always, staff has all the fun? So speak up. In such situations, please speak up openly, directly, honestly, but ethically. Express your needs, document your concerns, write a mail to your manager, request him with the proper words, no negative words, no explosion of rage in that mail. Change your attitude. Change your attitude and shift your perspective of people and situation. Don't feel that this person is like this always. No, you cannot have such kind of a biased impression on anybody. So don't do that. These are the tips for the staff as well, if you feel your manager is too bossy. And at a situation where you really feel that your manager is not taking care of certain things which might be harmful for the project or the company, you can escalate that. Again, document them and mark your words when you're writing an email. Okay. Let me share some rules of graceful argument discussion. The first one is never hold the other party responsible for what is said in the argument. You made all the mistakes. It's all your fault. Don't, generalize another person. Don't insult them. Emotional arguments like you always do that, you never do that, please avoid. Clearly, these are massive generalizations. Please do not do that because this can upset a person. Find privacy when you're discussing. Don't go loud in front of other people. Take him to a corner or go to a room and then discuss what is happening wrong or right. So arguments should not happen on the floor. It will be bad for both of you. Next one is reassure the other person of why he is arguing. You should know the correct reason of argument. Also recommend a timeout. If you feel it's going too much, just ask him, is there a brief time? Is there a convenient time we can talk about it again? Or you can also move to a certain place where, the environment is a little more casual, like a coffee shop or maybe a canteen or somewhere. However, keep your decibels low. We cannot shout on each other in a public place. Now, the issue is very important, guys. So when we are talking about it, please treat the issue with respect. Only then you can put your judgments. You can put your points on that correctly. You can argue on that correctly. Otherwise, this is going to be a waste of time. And very important sixth point is please do not involve anybody else. So what happens is, like for example, okay, you come here, see, you remember what happened that day and this happened. So isn't he like that? Please no. It is your perception how it is. It is related to that personal project where the third person is not even involved. So please do not drag anybody else into your conversation related to a single issue. The next one I would say is, it's about body language. Sit down and talk. Please do not stand. Otherwise, it will look that you're authoritative, you are threatening. So when somebody is sitting and you're standing and talking, automatically your energy goes higher and then you start talking in a higher tone and that shows a threatening posture. So avoid that. Sit down, calm down, take a corner or some location and then discuss this matter. And the very last one is, whatever has been discussed, please confirm the outcome is acceptable for the other person or not. So you have discussed, you have enough argumented on the conflict. However, when you think that it stands resolved, talk to each other with a very nice handshake and conclude the discussion and say if it is, see if it is acceptable to the other person or not. So see, conflict resolution is such an important topic. However, it's easy if we keep our calm down, if we know the right way or the right words of handling the situation. Thank you so much for hearing me. Again, like, share, subscribe my channel for many more beautiful topics on your professional development. Thank